July 7th, 2026. A paparazzi outlet called The Hollywood Fix uploads a video that almost nobody notices. Conor McGregor walking into the Newport Pain Management Clinic. At the time, it looked like nothing. Maybe just a routine visit, something that wouldn't be unusual for a UFC fighter preparing for a fight. But when you consider that Conor stayed behind in Newport, instead of attending his media obligations, disappeared from the first 2 episodes of UFC Embedded, and then look at everything else that happened over the following week, that visit starts to look very different. So here's the question. Did the UFC already know Conor McGregor was injured? And if they did, why did the fight move forward anyway?
No, but look, he's in a really good space, and I'll apologise. I maybe had a part in him being a bit late arriving because we were originally going to come in on Friday, and we were up in Newport, and it's so beautiful. And I might have suggested, why don't we stay here another few days and just go in at the last moment because the weather was, the climate's perfect.
That was the explanation from Conor's longtime coach, John Kavanagh. They stayed behind in Newport because the weather was better. Now, on the surface, that sounds perfectly reasonable for someone like me or you. But we're talking about an athlete under contract with the UFC, with media obligations and promotional commitments the UFC expected him to attend. If those plans were going to change, the UFC almost certainly wasn't finding out at the last minute. Someone would have to explain why. And that's exactly why this visit to the pain management clinic stands out to me. I think this is the first piece of the puzzle. Just one day later, Conor would arrive in Las Vegas. He did multiple interviews and honestly looked great. At the press conference, he looked like he was back to his old self. Animated, confident, even sprinting into the face-off with Max Holloway. If there already was an injury, it certainly didn't look like one that was gonna stop him from fighting. At this point, it may have been nothing more than a minor issue, something he believed he could fight through. But by the weigh-ins, something seemed to change. This is where you see Conor stumble, and more importantly, his entire demeanor feels different. Take a close look at him here, because from this point on, he never quite looks the same. Backstage, Conor looked different. I've watched Conor McGregor fight weeks for over a decade, and honestly, I can't remember seeing him like this. The usual swagger was gone. Instead, he looked tense, uncomfortable, almost like he was trying to get through the moment rather than enjoy it.
Gentlemen, 5 minutes.
Then, during the warm-up, Conor throws the exact same kick that would later be blamed for the injury inside the octagon. Now watch this carefully. As he walks away, he instinctively taps his leg with his foot. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just a habit. But it's enough to make me pause. Because if Conor had already tweaked something before the fight, this could be the moment he made it work. And if something really happened here, why would Conor immediately go back to the exact same kick to start the fight? Now let's take a look at the walkout, because this did not feel like a normal Conor McGregor walkout. He didn't look locked in. He was breathing heavily, he stumbled while taking his shoes off, and once he entered the octagon, he was barely bouncing. He was pacing, almost like a man who already knew something was wrong. And maybe that's exactly what we were watching. Maybe Conor already knew his leg was compromised. Maybe he knew this fight was never gonna play out normally. Then within seconds of the opening bell, he throws that exact same kick we just saw in the warm-up. He lands awkwardly, gets back to his feet, and immediately tries to throw another high kick. And this is where the whole thing starts to feel strange. Because if Conor already knew the injury was there, was he trying to win the fight? Or was he trying to create a moment that made it look like the injury happened inside the octagon? I'm not saying that's definitely what happened, but with everything we've gone through in this video already, it's a possibility that has to be considered. Then there's what happened immediately after the fight. Conor leaves the arena in a hurry and is rushed to the hospital. Now don't get me wrong, he was clearly injured, he was limping, but what stood out to me was that he was still able to walk on his own all the way back to his vehicle. To me, it didn't look like someone experiencing a completely new injury. It looked like someone whose leg had finally reached its breaking point. And if that's what happened, then the injury didn't begin inside the octagon. It simply ended there. But then something else caught my attention. Around the exact same time, both Oscar Willis and Brett Okamoto posted the exact same tweet about Floyd Mayweather being Conor's next opponent. Now, maybe that's just a coincidence, but these aren't just two random reporters. Oscar Willis has long-standing ties to Conor's camp. Brett Okamoto is one of the UFC's most plugged-in journalists. So when both of them are suddenly pushing the same narrative at almost the exact same time, I have to ask, where did that come from? We'll probably never know exactly when Conor's injury happened, or exactly who knew about it. But after looking at the entire timeline, the pain management clinic, the change in his demeanor, the weigh-ins, the warm-up, the walkout, and everything that happened after the fight, I have a hard time believing the UFC knew absolutely nothing. Whether it was just a minor tweak that everyone expected him to fight through, or something much more serious, someone had to make the decision that Conor McGregor was fit to walk into the octagon on July 11th. And after putting all of these pieces together, I don't think the official story is the whole story. Not even close. But hey, that's just me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and I will keep them coming.